I had heard whispers of the NeuroNet, a digital underworld deep within the web where illicit desires took shape. Hidden from the view of Shibuya's corporate-sponsored cyberspace, this realm promised to fulfill your darkest fantasies, all without consequence. They called it a mirage, but I needed to know the truth. Stepping into a dimly lit data dive, I plugged my neural implant into the jack and descended into the matrix. Lines of code streaked past as I navigated the data flow, bypassing firewalls and anti-intrusion programs. In the digital shadows, I found an entrance to the NeuroNet, a pulsing portal that drew me in. The NeuroNet was unlike anything I had seen. Real and digital worlds blended seamlessly, their boundaries unclear. It felt like an endless lucid dream. My senses tingled as I immersed myself in this new reality. I found a forum where users recounted their deepest fears transformed into exhilarating experiences. Eager to face my fear of drowning, I coded an underwater scenario and dove in. The sensation of water enveloping me was terrifyingly real. I kicked and thrashed, trying to surface, but my lungs filled with water. Panic set in, and I forced myself to disconnect. I found myself gasping for breath, back in the data dive. "That was close," I whispered, wiping the sweat from my brow. Over time, I returned to the NeuroNet, facing my fears one by one, from heights to closed spaces. The adrenaline rush was addictive, but something was wrong. The lines between the real and digital worlds were blurring. One night, I returned to the NeuroNet and found myself in an empty room, walls closing in. I panicked, coding a way out, but nothing worked. My heart raced, and I couldn't disconnect. As the walls closed in, I found a note with my own handwriting: "You can't escape your fears." The walls receded, and I stood in a replica of my childhood home, where my darkest memories resided. A chill ran down my spine. There, at the kitchen table, sat my father, the embodiment of my childhood terror. He looked up, eyes hollow, and spoke in a voice like gravel: "Welcome back, son." I awoke with a start, back in the data dive. My pulse was erratic, and my vision blurred. I felt a hand on my shoulder and turned to see the owner of the data dive, a seasoned netrunner with knowing eyes. "You're not the first," he said, his voice heavy. "The NeuroNet isn't a creation. It's a manifestation of our collective fears, and it feeds on them. You've gone too deep, let it in." I looked at my trembling hands, feeling a darkness creeping into my mind. I had faced my fears, but at what cost?